Interesting. Hi there. My name is Kathleen, and I am going to be doing the show alone today, and I just had Periscope fail, so give me 1 second while I switch over and make Periscope behave. So how's everybody doing? This is what I'm usually doing when Mare is talking to you now. I am usually running around trying to get everything to behave. Some days are easier than others. And it's just tried to log into the wrong account, which is not helpful at all. Oh my goodness gracious. So this is why Mare usually does the speaking on the air part of the show, because I'm back here juggling all the technology. And some days it's easier than others, but it is never easy. So that's why she does a little pre-show for me, and that way I get a chance to get all the ducks in a row, because every time something different goes wrong, which makes it interesting. We'll go with interesting. Anyway, so tonight we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about working as a BA and all of the fun and exciting things that go along with that. We all spend a lot of time, and there's a lot of material out there talking about how to document workflows and requirements and comps and all that kind of stuff, but there's not a whole lot of conversation around how we can improve our workflow. So that is what we're going to talk about tonight. I'm going to talk about one tool that you can use across all of your projects to manage all of your stuff and to make your life a lot easier than mine is right now. Because this is something that unfortunately that tool cannot help me with. All right, so if everything is right, I should be able now to sign into Periscope and have them join the party. Okay, maybe not. All right, I'm going to try one more time, and if it doesn't work, my apologies to the fine folks on Periscope. Let me see why this is still not working. That should have worked. Maybe the code changed in the meantime. So sometimes on Periscope I have to enter an authorization code, but other times I don't have to, which is kind of weird. All right, so let's say okay, and let's say start. And it's trying. Hey, it worked. See? I just kept doing the same exact thing 3 times in a row, and then it worked. Doesn't make any sense, but that's what it is. Okay, so now I'm just going to verify on the other places. Hello, Facebook. Good to see you there. Let's really make sure that things have worked over on Periscope, since that was tonight's problem. And yes, hello Periscope. So glad that you're actually able to make it tonight. Thought for a second there we were going to have to give up, but we are good. We are alive in all 3 places. All right, so we're going to take this as a positive sign that tonight, the rest of tonight, is going to go swimmingly. You along for the ride? I hope so. I could use all the support I could get tonight. So if you're out there, drop a comment in. Let me know you're there. Let me know where you're from. Let me know if you have a favorite tool that you rely on to help keep yourself organized, to manage multiple projects without losing your mind, all that kind of good stuff. We don't want to hear me 2 and 3 times, so let's make sure all the volumes are off. Okay, so we are going to dive in. I'm going to run the start show video, and we will start with the good stuff. Hang on. Okay, boy, I forget how short that intro is. It feels longer when I'm not on air. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here. Now's not a good time to have checked this, but yes, okay, I do have the microphone on. That's very important. Normally I have my mic off because Mary's doing the talking, and so you don't really need to hear me fumfering around back here, but it's okay. We're all set. So, for those of you who haven't seen me in a while, my name is Kathleen Sinnott, and you are at the BA Zone Live. You can always find us on thebazone.com or on Twitter at the BA Zone. So tonight, let's talk about the realities of our lives, right? The one thing that we really don't have a lot of time to focus on. Hey, John, how you doing? Thank you for being here. And that is us, right? We spend all of our time, all of our energy focusing on the other members of our team, the stakeholders, the customers, the users, making sure that we've got all the information together, that we're helping them out with their stuff. But what about us? Well, there are ways that we can help ourselves, because let's face it, nobody else is going to. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And in particular, the tool I want to talk about tonight is my all-time favorite tool, Trello. Trello is many kinds of wonderful. You heard us talk about it before for other purposes. But tonight we are going to talk about it from the standpoint of how it can help us. All right, here we go. And yes, we are good here. I'm just going to let me just pop something into Periscope here. Really? Okay. Really? There we go. Okay. Just want to let them know that they can comment. I am watching, and I'm watching obviously the comments on Facebook and on YouTube. So if you do have a comment, if you have a favorite tool, please go ahead and share it. We do appreciate that. We can't possibly know all of the tools that are out there. So if you have a favorite that is not Trello, or if you are also a Trello fan, we would love to hear from you. So let's talk about it. Yes. Trying to make everything behave. Got it. When I try to explain, and I'm sure you run into this, when I try to explain what I do for a living, either people politely wander off or they just smile and nod. And that's because what we do is not one thing, right? We never know from day to day what our day is going to bring. We go in with a plan, we know what we're hoping to accomplish, but other things are going to pop up, we know that. And depending on where each project is in the lifespan, especially if you're in software development, it's going to change every single day. It's going to change depending on the project. It's going to change depending on the audience. But frankly, that's what makes our job fun. It also does bring with it a certain level of stress. Let's not lie about it. It is what it is. It is a good thing because it is interesting and challenging, but there are days where it's just a lot of stress. And if you think about the kinds of things that we're doing, okay, so we're collecting goals, pain points, wish lists. We're documenting the flows, the current flow, the planned flow, maybe multiple levels of planned flows. We are taking notes in meetings. Even if we're not the official note taker, we're always taking notes in meetings because it's the information that we're going to need. We are building current and future data dictionaries. We are validating those against reality because what we are told and what exists beforehand is not always what's actually out there now. We're taking screen captures. We're reviewing existing documentation, help files, training files, support logs. We're checking out and comparing what we've got and what we're planning against industry trends and best practices. We're looking at what competition is out there doing, what's working, what isn't. Is there maybe an idea we should borrow? We're maybe building or working with whoever is building the comps. Maybe we're helping out with some testing. Maybe we're designing reports. Maybe we're validating reports. Maybe we're validating the upstream and downstream information because no system stands alone. Everything is connected to something else, and we have to make sure that even with the changes, it's still going to work. We also need to find out about the things that have changed upstream and downstream that maybe nobody's bothered to mention because they're so used to it, they forget to mention it. That's just a small slice of what we do every day. Then we also have to keep track of who's who, right? Who's on our team, because that's always changing. Who are the subject matter experts? Who are the users? Who are the customers we're dealing with? The account managers. Maybe we're working with a third-party tool, and so we have to know the members of their team. And when you're doing this across multiple projects, it's hard enough on one project. If you're doing this across multiple projects, you really can't expect your brain to keep all this. It's just not possible. And there's so many better options. Unfortunately, the options we usually use are whatever's at hand. We grab a notebook, right? We grab a scrap of paper. We're hoping on our brain. Maybe we're grabbing our phone and making a quick note in here. But then you've got things scattered, right? All the information, you know you've had it, you know you've heard it, you know somebody said something about that. Where is it? Where did I put that piece of paper? Where did I write that down? And then you spend 40 minutes looking for it. It doesn't have to be that way. And honest to God, does not have to be that way. And the solution to that, I'll just cut right to the chase here, is my favorite tool, Trello. Trello is good for so many things, but one of the things it's great for is our job. It is great for keeping track of things. You can attach things to it. You can assign things. You can keep things just for your own brain dump. You can have pieces of it that are shared with your other teammates. You can assign things to people. You can track things in it. It is the one place that you can always go to, put all of your stuff in there. And as long as you are consistent about that, everything you need will always be in there. And the nice thing about it is it works on the desktop, it works on tablets, it works on Chromebooks, and it works on mobile. So wherever you are, if you have an idea in the lunchroom, if you are in a meeting and somebody says something and you know you had to answer to it, maybe you don't have your laptop, maybe there's a no laptop rule in there. Odds are they still let you bring in your phone. You can still find the answer. So it is the one tool that I rely on to dramatically reduce my stress. It is the one tool that I know I can rely on, and that even 6 months later, when I go back to a project, because maybe we're doing an update or maybe there are some bug fixes that need to be done, I can go in, I can go through the boards, quickly get my brain back up to date, and be ready to go forward. So let's talk about Trello. So to start with, the good thing is it's free. And that's why we use it for planning and tracking the show and everything else we do with the BA Zone, the website, newsletters, emails, everything. Everything we do goes into a Trello board because, for example, when Mare is away, I can still see, oh, all right, okay, right, she said this, she put this in here, great, she did that update. Or if something happens and I have to jump out for a couple of days, she can jump in here. Everything is in here. It's like the shared brain between the two of us. And when we get together and we have a really good session, we write everything down, we throw it in here, and then a couple weeks later, we're like, wait, what did we say we were going to do when? Don't have to worry about it. We just go in here and look. We don't have to lose any time searching for things that we know we already figured out. So let's just kind of take you through the work. It's not really a workflow for this. We'll take you through the options. So the nice thing about this is you can do it just for you, or you can build teams. So in its basic form, you see, I use this a lot. I use it for my life. I use it for the business. I use it for my regular business, side businesses. So you can have just boards that are just yours, and that's all you need to worry about. Or you can build out what they call teams. So with a team, and sometimes my team is just me, but I think that down the road, maybe I'm going to want to invite other people in, so I just go ahead and create the team. So let's go through this. So to start off something new, I always start off with a team. I'm going to take you through all the free stuff, and then we'll talk about the paid stuff. So business team is a paid service. So we're going to start off with just team. So you need to give it a name. Okay. And a description. You don't actually have to put the description in, but I do find it helps because, again, I have a lot of them. Oh, shoot. Hang on. This would really help if I was sharing my desktop. See, this is why I produce the show. Let me back up. Oh, see, my pip's going to take up too much room. Let me fix that. We can do that. All right, let's start that over, shall we? Let me just get this spaced right. Is that better? That's better. Okay, so sorry. So, let me take you in here. So, at the basic level, okay, you have either for yourself or for your team, it's a series of boards, and each board can have a bunch of lists in it, and each list can have different cards in it. That, in a nutshell, is Trello. But you can get as complex or simple with it as you wish. Come on, home. There we go. They changed the UI on me. So, as you can see, you don't need to see this in detail, but I keep everything. Everything is a Trello board in my life because it's that helpful. So you can have just solo boards, right? It's just you. They're not connected to anything. They're not part of a team. Or you can build out teams, which sometimes I just have a team that's just mine. And because maybe down the road I'm going to invite somebody in, or maybe that's just because that day, that's how I'm thinking about the project. So it doesn't really matter. Whatever works for you works in Trello. That's the nice thing about it. You don't have to follow a strict set of rules because none of those, there's a lot of tools out there, but a lot of them are like, you have to do this way. Well, some days I want to do it this way. So this tool lets me do things however I want to do it, however it's going to work best for me. And it's got a search, so even if I do forget, if I go back 6 months, a year later, 2 years later, and I don't remember exactly where I put something, I can search for it and find it. So let's start from the very beginning, okay? There are free and paid versions of this. I'm going to focus mostly on the free, and then we'll just do at the end kind of a quick summary of the paid. So very often I start by building a team, even if there's not really a team. Okay, and then as it says, this is optional. I usually do put something in here just because it makes it easier for me down the road. And boom, you're started. It's really that easy. So then you can come in here and you can right away start building out your boards. You can, customize some things. You can change some settings if you want. So it starts off being private, okay? But you can also make it public if you choose to. At a higher level, at a paid level, there's another option. So right now, it's going to just stay private because that's all I want. First thing I always do is if I am going to invite somebody, you're going to just put in their email address here. So I'm going to actually put in our email address. As far as it didn't actually pre-populate for me. Maybe it did. Okay, that's fine. I don't care if they haven't. And you can put multiples in here if you want. You don't have to do this step. This is optional because if you created the team, you're automatically a part of it. So you can just come in here and say invite, and then it'll show you, okay, you sent the email to this one, but they haven't accepted yet. So that'll change when they get the email and click on it. If you change your mind, if you mistype the email address, you can just click on it to remove it. It's really easy. And if you get a big enough team, you can do all these kinds of things. So you can invite however many you want. You can also just share a link. So maybe you don't want somebody to be able to edit it, but you do want them to be able to see it. You can just send them a link that they can copy, you can copy and paste into an email, and then they can do that. They can see it. Because sometimes that's handy. Sometimes maybe management wants to see it, your manager wants to use it, or maybe your team lead wants to see it, but you're not so sure that you want them in there mucking around. So this way, at least they have the availability they have the access to it, they can view it. Most of the times that's all they want, so everybody's happy, and it doesn't feel like you're keeping information secret. So it's a goodwill kind of a thing. So then you're ready to start your first board, and literally all you do, you just click. Now, you give it a title. So let's call this reference links. Now, this may not apply to everybody, but I work on a lot of software development projects, and so there's always a lot of links I'm looking at, either the current environment, maybe I'm comparing the current production to QA to development or to UAT. Maybe I'm looking at the competitions links. Maybe I'm looking at a third-party link because they're looking to bring in a third-party tool. There's lots of reasons. And you find over time, you get one, somebody tells it to you in an email, somebody tells it to you in a meeting, and then again, you got all these scraps of paper. It's just much easier to just put those in here. You can, if you change your mind, maybe you get into this the way I do, and you're putting it different things. You're like, oh wait, no, I didn't mean to do this. I meant it for this project. You can easily move it. You can take it out of the team if you want to. Let's see. So you can change the backgrounds, and you can always do this stuff later too. So if you don't like the default, or maybe you like a solid color better, or you like a different image, you can go ahead and do all that. We'll just pick a solid color for now, and you create the board. Over here on the right side, it's going to show you everything that's been going on here. So I created it and added it to the board. Power-ups, I keep forgetting the number. I think you get like 2 or 3 power-ups. So those are kind of like plugins or additional functionality. Think of them like extensions for your browser. It's different functionality that you can add to this. You can always buy more. And then you've got all of these options here. So let's just start here. So changing the background is exactly what we just did. You can filter the cards. We don't really have any yet, so we don't bother. You can add stickers, to the different things. So you want to jazz up the messages that you're leaving. You can also change your basic settings, the team name, all these different things. Permissions. What else? Labels. Okay. Labels are one of the cool things about Trello. You can, as you see, customize them. You can add them, you can remove them, you can create new ones, you can do whatever you want. By default, they're just colors, and what you do is you come over here and you can give it a name. So let's say, let's call this UAT. Okay, so that way I can always mark everything, whether it's a link, maybe it's a note I'm leaving myself, maybe it's a reference document. I can put that in here because these labels will go across the entire team. So you can do that, and then it shows up here. We could do another one. We can call this, what are we going to call this? See, this is why I need Mayor here. This is sort of a 2-person operation for my brain. Oh, let's just call this testing. Okay. And so on and so forth. You can also make it, I love that they added accessibility to it, so you can do, make it colorblind. So what you colorblind. You can't make it colorblind. You can make it colorblind friendly. So what it did here, here, I'll just turn this off. Before it was just color coding, and just from an accessibility thing, we've covered this before, but you never ever want to just use a color to indicate anything because not everybody can see the colors. So what you want to do, is you put this on, and then what it did was it put a little decoration on each one. But now somebody who maybe can't see the colors because they're colorblind, they're having a problem with their screen, they're in an environment with a lot of glare, they'll still be able to see these patterns, and once they learn what they are, they'll know exactly where they're at. So we've got all that. Oh, what else? We'll get into all this. You can archive stuff. Okay, so this is one of the ways that you can make your life easier with Trello, and this doesn't require anything special. It doesn't require any kind of power up, plug-in, whatever you call it. So you can say that you can set it up so that you can send emails to this board and it will populate them. So basically what this does is it gives you a unique email address. If you've ever used an Amazon Kindle, it's the same kind of thing, how you can email documents to your Kindle to read later. It's the same kind of thing. So it generates this email address for you. You can specify which board and where it will appear. Now, of course, I haven't built any list yet. Let's build a list because then it's a little bit easier. So let's say current system, okay? And we'll call this future system, okay? And then here we're going to do not really, but that's first thing that came to my head. This keyboard is a little wonky. All right, and the future system will be, what we'll say, Facebook. I'll get shut down by one or the other of them for even suggesting this, right? Okay. So if you come in here now, maybe I might have to leave and come back. Let's try that. Okay, so anything you email to this, you can send to the future system, and you can position it either at the top or the bottom of your list. So when I emailed something to this list, it will automatically put a new card right above the most recent top card. Again, so if you get a lot of email information from your team members, from your subject matter experts, whatever, you can, rather than having to go into Outlook or Gmail or whatever mail service you're using, go in and tag things or find things or whatever, which is fine. You can do that there too. Well, but you can also forward those messages here, and then you'll always have them right here at your fingertips as you're working through your projects. You can turn on or off watch. Watch means that you will get notified when somebody changes something on here. So for example, if you're sharing this with somebody and maybe they've added information or removed information, if you turn watch on, it will notify you of those kinds of changes. You can copy the board, you can print it, you export it. You're starting to see why this is so helpful. There's an amazing amount of flexibility in here. So let me just show you one that I actually just started playing around with. This one, yeah. So this is one way that I usually start off my projects because I always have a lot of questions in the beginning, and I'm also always getting a lot of reference information. So I start off with one place to put all of my business questions, one for my developer questions, one that's just sort of what I was talking about, links to the resources they want me to look at. Hey, we saw this functionality on this site. We want to include that in the project going forward. Those kind of links. Training documents, anything. Like, for example, I just started at a new place. So I've got a lot of catching up to do because they've got all these systems in place. They've been there for 100 years. So I'm getting all the information I can get, talking to everybody. I mean, nobody can pass me in the hallway right now and not end up in a conversation because everybody's giving me very helpful information. Everybody's being very kind and helpful, but they can only give me the information they have, and I need all the information. So the person from, QA I talked to, and they gave me some information, but then I had to talk to the account managers to find out their information, and because I'm trying to get all the pieces of this puzzle together. So all those links go in here. And then this becomes my to-do list. So this is just the stuff I don't want to forget as I'm jumping around, especially since I'm new there and I'm already working on 3 projects. So I have a board I have it like the team boards I'm using right now as project management. So I have, instead of, whatever I call this example team 1, I have, project ABC, project XYZ, project ALN. So that way I can just jump in and get what I want, and it's organized that way. And I've already started inviting some other team members into parts of the board. That's the other nice thing, is you can invite members to just access parts of your board, which is a whole nother thing we can get into. Okay, I'm going really fast because I got a lot I want to cover. But I don't want to lose my voice in the process, because that wouldn't be any fun. Also, all of my tools just shut down on me. So while I'm looking at that, let me remind you that you can sign up for our mailing list. That is the bazone.com mailing list. We do not sell it. We do not give people the chance to advertise to you. This is solely so we can communicate with you, so we can get information to you, and so that we can stay in touch, because that's kind of important. We think so anyway. Maybe you don't agree. All right, one sec. Yes. Okay. Just trying to, I'm triggering something now, so it should hopefully keep the screen alive, she says optimistically. All right. So let's just, as an example, let's just add some stuff here. So you see now I added some stuff in here, so there's more activity, so you can see what's gone on, which has been handy. Especially if you're sharing it with other people, or frankly, for yourself, okay? A lot of times I come in here and go, I'll look at this, I go, okay, good, I did add that. I wanted to add this piece of information. I can't now remember if I did or I didn't. Okay, look, I did add that. That's good. And then you can just make this go away. So, for example, the basic entering of a card is you just put information here. So, let's see. Oops. Okay, and literally you can be done with it and just rip through and do more. But if you want to give it more information, you can come in here and you can do the edit, or you can just come in here and click on this and get this screen. I find this easier to work with. So I could put this in here and say, external users. I can't talk and type at the same time. I don't know why. This is how external users log in to the system today. Yes, I can spell. Really, I can spell. Why I must spell Toyota, I don't know. And it's very helpful. It shows you the different types of layout that you can do on it, but you don't have to. But particularly for my friends out there who are into Markdown, that's what it uses. So if you already know Markdown, you're good. If not, you can learn it here. If you don't care, you don't need to. So it's all here if you want it. But the thing that you do need to remember is you do need to remember to save. A lot of people forget this step and then they end up with these cards that are halfway done. The good news is most of the time it saves it for you, but don't take a chance. So I've got that, and so let's say I'm going to put in this, so let's call this the landing view. Okay, and then you can come down here and you can actually add another card. You can add emoji if you feel like it. You can mention somebody, okay? So like I can mention the person I invited even though they haven't accepted yet. I can go ahead and mention them now, because what will happen then when they accept the invite and they come in to see this account, this Trello view, they'll already see that there's stuff that I want them to look at first before they just go and wander around. And this is the other thing, and this for me is the lifesaver. And that is the way you can attach things, okay? So you can attach things from your computer. You can attach things that exist in Trello. You can attach things from your Google Drive, from Dropbox, from Box, from OneDrive. So it is very, very handy. Plus, you can also just put a link in. So let's just see. Hopefully I have something here. There's some random screen capture I took. It's not really a login. But you see, what it does then is it makes this image available to you. And you can have multiple ones. And the last one you entered is always the default one. But you've always got the attachments down here that you can go and look at. And then you can save this. And then you can come in here later and you can add another comment to it. Or you can delete it. Or you can remove it from the cover if you don't like having it up there. It's as flexible as you need it to be. And then you can always come in, whoops, Come on, why are you not doing this? There we go. And quickly look at it. So, I mean, this makes me look way smarter than I am when I'm in meetings. Especially in meetings where I get to bring my laptop, because I can have my laptop, in front of me with the screen kind of pushed down so it's not blocking anybody's view, because that's the mental block people have is, when you've got your laptop here, they feel like you're not engaging. But if you put the screen like this where you can still see it, but they can see you, they're much happier. But they'll be talking about something or trying to remember something, because people being who they are, we all think our memories are better than it is. So you'll sit in a meeting, whether you have 2 people in the room or you've got 10, everybody's working off of their memory and perception of what it is you're talking about. And that's why I take a ton of screen captures when I start everything. I just go through, and whatever it is that we're working on, I go through and grab screen captures of every view I can possibly get my hands on. And that way, when we're talking about something, so let's say that this was a login, and they're like, well, it's got this, thing over here that explains how to do it. And I know that it doesn't because I just looked at it, but they're working from memory. So I can say, well, okay, let me make sure that we're all talking about the same thing. And I'll bring up this view, right? And I will show it on the screen, or, if it's just a couple people, they'll be looking at my screen. And I'll say, this is the one that I saw. Is this what we're talking about? Or is there a different view I haven't seen yet? Now, I'm 90% sure at this point that I do have the right screen because I've been through the system, I've done my research, but I present it that way because I am new. And maybe there is some other secret doorway that I don't know about yet. That there is always one, at least one. So this way, we're all looking at it and they go, oh, right, I forgot. We wanted to do that, but it didn't make it in the last project. Okay, great. That's more information on multiple levels to me. They already had this goal. It's already been documented. I need to go find that documentation. And then I need to go and find out why it didn't happen last time. Come on. Oh, it opened up a new window? Yes. So that is one of my favorite things in this tool. This is one of the things that I rely on very heavily. I attach everything in here. I do my screen captures. I do the comps that I'm working on. I do any reference documentation I've got. My work in progress documents I attach in here, because that way I don't have to go through drives. I don't even have to remember what tool I was using. I just come in here, get it, and boom, I'm ready to go. You can add other things. So for example, you can build checklists. Okay, you can give it whatever name you want, and you can do all these things. Okay, this obviously is very good for to-do lists and that kind of other stuff, but there's lots of other ways to do it, because then, yes, I know, I typed that wrong. So let me come out so you can come in. So when you see here, this shows you a little capture of everything's going on in this one card, right? So I'm watching it. It's got a description. There's been a couple of comments on it. There's attachments, and there's a checklist. So I can come in here and go, oh, okay, here's all this stuff. And you know what? This is done and this is done. So it doesn't take them away, but it draws a line through it so everybody knows, hey, they're done. And then if somebody says, well, and up here it shows you the percentage of your items that are done. Then if for some reason you need to reactivate something, you can just come back in here and remove it. Very handy. You can assign a due date to either individual cards or to, I think it's just individual cards, right? So if I add, oops, sorry. Let's give it a due date of next week at 2 p.m. Okay, so it's just for this card. So even if I add other, okay, so this one has a due date on it, but these don't, because it's to the card. You can also go into the card, and again, you can, attach members to it. So this attaches them at the higher level, whereas before, so this attaches members to this particular card. So that this card, when people search for things that this person, like, I use this with Marilette. So it's like if there's something I'm working on, I just put my name on it. Something that she's working on, just her name goes on it. If it's both of us, I put both of our names on it. And that way we can go in and we can sort and we can filter our list the way we need to. Now this is different from the other one. I've already forgotten where I put it. But like if I just wanted to, with the mention I did for her. Is that gone already? I forgot where I put that. All right, well, let's do one here. So here, if I want to say, we don't even need a description on this one. We can just say, let me know whatever, right? And then I can add, right, it wasn't that. I can add the member and it's her. And so this way she knows that for this comment, I'm waiting for feedback from her, which is different from this one where I've made her a member of this particular card because I need her to interact with it on the same level I'm interacting with it. So you can do it for the whole card like that, or you can do it just at the comment level if you just need them to answer like the one question or one piece of it. Let's see what else. I guess that's pretty much it. So I talked about, oh my goodness, I haven't given you people a break and it's 8:30. See, I knew there was a lot of stuff in here. Okay. I'm going to give you a little bit of a break here while we chat. So the whole point about this is the reason that this tool works is because it gives you one place to put everything. But you're able to put it in a way that it's not just one giant pile. You can structure it, you can organize it however you want. As you probably already know with Trello, the other nice thing is, so if this, ceases to be, let's say this one. Let's say, this one is really, turns out it's not research, I put it in the wrong place, you can just drag it. If you don't want this card to be, you don't want that list to be here, you can drag it. You need to add another one, you just click on it. It's quick, it's fast, it works just as well on mobile, it's fully functional on mobile as it is on desktop, it works on tablets, it works great with touch. So it really is all purpose. And you can attach local documents, you can attach remote documents, you can put links in there, you can do images, photos, whatever. Whatever it is that you need to track for your project, you can put in here, and then every time you need to work on it, you go one place, and everything you need is there the way you need it, and if you need to change something, you just drag it to where it needs to go. All right, let's take a little break here, and let me just remind you, I have to find it because I'm sorry, again, I'm usually doing the production, that you can always reach us at the BA Zone. You can go to thebazone.com, which is the website. There's all kinds of information there. The blog is there. It's a little out of date. We're going to work on that. We've got big plans for next year. We've got the links to the show. If you're ever trying to catch up with us and you don't remember where we are on Facebook or Periscope or YouTube, no worries. Just go to thebazone.com/watch. I always post an embed of the show there so you can watch it live or after the fact. We are on Instagram, we're on Periscope, we're on Facebook, and we're on YouTube. So we think, everywhere you need us to be. If not, please let us know, because that's the whole point here, is we are doing this to help you. We are trying to provide the kind of help that we were always looking for before we ended up working together and found it, with each other. That's really how this has all happened. We have worked together, before we met, we worked on separate, in separate companies and separate parts of the universe. And then we got together at one place and realized that we had the same approach. We worked really well together and realized that what, I'm strong at, she needed help with, and what she's strong at, I needed help with. And so it was perfect. So that's what we're trying to bring to you. So please don't hesitate. Please, just let us know. If you have a question, if there's a topic you want us to cover, if you're confused about something, if you don't know how to attack a certain thing, if you don't know how to structure something. That's what we're here for. That's what we do. The content for these shows comes directly out of the questions that we get either from you folks or at work, because that's the other thing. Over time, we've both had to do hiring. We both have ended up hiring people and then having to train them because they thought that they were doing BA work before. Some of them were, some of them weren't. So it was just easier to get them on track and get them with the program by training them. So that's why we're here. And we know that there's a lot of you out there who are doing this solo. You may be the only BA in your company. And I know from experience how lonely that can be and how sometimes you just don't know where to go. Sometimes you just need that idea in your brain. That's what we're here for. So feel free to reach out. The other thing, actually along those same lines, is we are from now through the end of the year running a survey. So we are really hoping that you will go. It should take you anywhere from like 2 to 3 minutes. It's a really short survey, but it will let us know where you want us to focus next year. And feel free, there's empty text boxes. If there's something that's not on there that you want us to cover, please go ahead, throw it in there. So you can go to tinyurl.com/the BA Zone survey. Tried to make it as easy as possible. Let us know your hopes, your dreams, your wishes. What is it that we can do to help you get the job done better, to help you go through your day with less stress? Maybe you want to transition into, maybe you like being a BA, but you've been doing it in, one area and you'd like to maybe try it in a different area. It's one of the cool things about our job is we don't have to stick in one area. I mean, between Mary and I think we've covered just about everything, although we did realize the other day that neither one of us has done law enforcement yet. So that's on our wish list. But we've done banking, we've done travel, we have done traditional commerce, e-commerce, and then of course combinations thereof, healthcare on many different levels, insurance, I said banking, right? I mean, you name it, financial services, lots and lots of software companies, HRIS, human resources kind of stuff. So if you are doing something in one and you've been doing it in one for a while and you feel like you need to change, but you like your job, moving to another domain is totally refreshing. It's a whole chance to like kind of fire up those parts of your brain that need to like learn things to be happy. It's a good way to go. So feel free to reach out. Let me bring that back. It went away too fast. So it's tinyurl.com/the BA Zone survey, no spaces. Like I said, 2 to 3 minutes, you're done. Maybe 1 minute if you click fast. But by all means, linger if you wish. Take your time. Give us all the information you want. Because we are planning out next year and we want to make sure that we are giving you what you want. So for example, one thing that has come up, which was funny because we've actually been bouncing it back and forth, but we've actually had a couple people ask us to put the content on LinkedIn because that's where they spend a lot of their time. So we're looking into that. We're going to figure it out. And next year at some point, we'll be on LinkedIn. So that's the kind of thing. It is like whatever it is that you're interested in. Somebody else was asking for survey information, how to build them, why to use them, how to word it, how to interpret results. So we're going to do a bunch of sessions on that. So please don't hesitate. Let us know. All right. So I'm sorry. This is the other thing. Like usually I'm the one checking the comments. Let me just see if there's any comments, questions, what have you. I'm sorry this is running long. It is a little bit more of a challenge this way. What can I say? Okay. All right. So let me check my list here and see if I have covered. I mean, there's just so much. Oh, all right. So I wanted to talk about, so like I said, everything I've told you is free in Trello. You can go, you can use it. What I really love is the fact that you can keep it private and it's still free. A lot of companies only give you the privacy option if you pay, but not these folks. They're really awesome. So let's see. So let's look at the power-ups. So with power-ups, you can add all kinds of extra functionality. The nice thing about this is you only have to add what you need. So you're not like overwhelmed. It's not the Microsoft Office problem, right? Microsoft Office is incredibly powerful, but it is so bloated and so full of stuff that many of us are never going to use. Nobody uses everything. It's just not possible. So the nice thing about this approach is you can cherry pick the ones that you need and not have to deal with the others. So for example, if you're a Jira shop, which most places are now, there's a direct Jira integration. So you can connect your Trello to the Jira that your teams are using, and it'll automatically bring the updates over for you. It'll automatically let you know when things have changed over there. So again, you're not having to jump tools. You're not having to remember, okay, wait, I got to go look at Jira. Oh, wait, I got to go look over here. Oh, wait, I got to... No. You can remove all that from your life and you can just have it all populate into Trello. And then if you do need to see something in more detail, you can click on the link in Trello and it will take you to Jira. Love it. Zendesk, Butler. So, I mean, pretty much any tools that you're using out there, there's some sort of integration, including the messaging. So, for example, Slack. There's a really good integration for that. I believe that there is also one for Skype. Of course, it's probably not going to jump up. So Twitter, if you're monitoring, industry trends, or if you're monitoring your competition, Twitter is a great place to do that kind of stuff. Or if you're monitoring people talking about your company, Twitter's a good place to do that. So all of these things, Gantt charts, time tracking, Evernote, these are just some of them. These are the featured ones. There's just tons and tons. And all you do is search and go and find the ones that you want and activate them. Like I said, there is, so let me go back to... It's been a while since I went to look. I don't know anymore where... You know what? Let me do it this way. I'll open up a different browser, not log in, and then we can see the pricing. Okay. Come over here. There you go. There we go. Okay. Oh, son of a gun. I just did this to you again. I am so sorry. See? This is what I tell Mare. This is why. Let me try this again. Where was I? We were in the power-ups, right? Okay. See, this is why the show is so long today, because I'm having to do things twice. Okay, let's start at the beginning. If you are a Jira user, there is a plugin. I explained all that. But there's all kinds of other ones. I mean, literally, you just can go through, you can search for them. And it also works with if this, then that. So if they don't have something that you would like to have, you can build it yourself with an if this, then that connection. It just makes your life so much easier. It plugs in to all the things you would expect it to. I'd be interesting to see if these go away, because like Hangouts is supposed to go away like 2020, except if you're using the G Suite. Interesting to see. Anyway, all the things that you would expect to see here are here. So you can go ahead and plug in whichever ones you need. I wouldn't get carried away because it could slow things down just a little bit if you have too many of them. But if you selectively use the ones that you really rely on, it's really great. So let me give you another example. I worked on a project a couple of years ago. It was 100% public facing. So it wasn't really an e-commerce site, but it was more complicated than that because, I like the juicy problems. Well, we'll use e-commerce as an example. So maybe it's a new place, that's just starting their e-commerce site. Maybe somebody is revamping their whole thing. So there's lots of tools that you can use to let your customers tell you what's working for them, what's not, if they're confused by something on the screen. There's a lot of good plugins for that, a lot of good tools for that. And there are a lot of plugins in Trello. So as a customer comes and, maybe screen cap something and circle something saying, hey, I filled in this form and it failed and here's the error message, that will get saved in the tool, but then you can use the plugin to Trello to bring those over. So again, it's another case where you don't have to remember to go into this tool, this tool, and this tool, and this tool. All the information comes to you, and then you can react to it, and the links will take you to that tool if you need to go in there to get more information. So it really streamlines your day. It removes all of that scatterbrained having to jump around in different places and putting in your IDs and passwords and shoot, what is the ID and password? I mean, I know that when I don't use Trello, I lose so much time because I'm having to go find all this stuff and shoot that. I know that's a password. Why didn't that work? And then worst of all, somebody will come over and ask me a question and then I answer it. And by the time I turn back around, I forget what I was going to do. You don't have to deal with that as long as you use Trello to track everything. So you've got that. So that is the free view, and I'm like logged in there, so it's not showing me the pricing. So let me see here. Somewhere here it must show me the pricing. As you can see, it's all the things we've been talking about. Okay, the labels are here. Got a checklist here. The labels just make it, again, it's just another easy way for you to filter and sort things. You can work with your teams. This is what we talked about. There we go, pricing. Okay, so free, can't go wrong with that, right? Or you can do the business class, which is the intro level, that's $9.99 a month. Now, if you are not able or willing to pay that yourself, sometimes your company will pay for it. And sometimes your company will love it so much that they'll actually buy the enterprise and it starts to take over the whole company, which is a good thing. So if you come in here, so for free, okay, it's one power up. That might have been because I was on the beta. I had 3 for free at one point. You can attach files up to 10 megabytes, all that kind of good stuff. By the way, the other benefit to attaching your documents, your screen caps, your image grabs, all that kind of stuff there is they're also available. So even if you attach a local document, it will become available wherever you are. It's awesome. If you need more and you're going to pay the $9.99, unlimited power-ups, which is a good thing once you start using them. Attachments up to 250 meg. You get more group and team options. I think that also gives you another level of security. I guess they don't say it here, but yeah. So basically what you start off with is private and public. But then you can have like a middle tier. I'm trying to think where I saw that recently. There's a yellow tier, and I'm trying to remember what the label is on it. But it's sort of like a intranet, or like if you're working with, let's say you use an outside graphic design firm. I think that middle level will let you control, like they don't have access to the entire team project. You can give them access to a sub part of it. I think that's what it is. So you can see here. And then, if your enterprise does go for it, it's got all the stuff the enterprise needs to see in order to pay for it. It's got single sign-on, it's got the two-factor, it's got all the security stuff. You can have more personalized stuff. You can remove some of the Trello references if they want to do that. Of course, you get better support. You get a SLA, which is a service level agreement for uptime, that kind of thing, file encryption, all that kind of stuff that enterprises need to see. So it's really not bad. I will tell you that there have been times when I have worked on multiple projects that for my own sanity, for a while, I went ahead and paid the $10 a month because it made my life so much easier. But right now, I'm doing everything for free, not running into any problems, not running into any limitations that I can't deal with. So that is, in a nutshell, Trello. I'm realizing now that this really needs to be like 5 or 6 different shows because it really is so much. So let's see. John says, practice, practice, practice. Yes. Well, this is when you get into the flow of just, being focused on the production side of it, that this adds a whole other level to it. It's okay. It'll get better. Mary will come back. All right, I'm going to let you go at this point because I am way over time. I do apologize, but I, as you can tell, I feel very strongly that this can be a tool that can solve a lot of problems for us. It can definitely lower your stress. And yeah, it'll take you an hour maybe to get comfortable with it and figure out what your pattern needs to be. And then you can always change it going forward. And the price is perfect. So give it a shot. Think about it. Go check it out. I will say that, we are not affiliated with them. We are not paid by them. We do not get any money for them. We are recommending this because we rely on this tool every single day for our paid gigs, for this gig. And frankly, we plan our lives on it. I know Mary was showing me, her Christmas one. I mean, it's just a great way to stay organized, to not lose track of anything. And when somebody says, okay, we're not going to do this now, you can archive it. Oh, that's the other thing I didn't show you, but you can archive things. And when they come back to you 6 months later and go, we really need that feature, we have to go get it, would you write up that requirement? You can just go and bring it back because you've still got it all. It's like magic. It's business analyst magic. And you'll find yourself, once you start using it, you'll find it using for everything, including your personal life. All right, I'm going to set you free. I'm just going to check one more time. I want to make sure I'm not missing any comments or questions. I hope that you will give this a try. I hope that you found this interesting. I thank you for your patience with me as I'm fumbling around trying to do everything at once. I really need to teach Murphy how to do some show production. It would make my life easier. All right, well, fingers crossed, Mare should be back next week. So I don't even know what she's got planned yet. She will let me know when she gets back. But if you prefer her, good news, she'll be back next week. And I will probably be here Christmas Day. I don't know whether or not any of you will be, but I will go ahead and do the show so that we keep to our schedule. Again, please, if you get 2 minutes, 3 minutes, please go take the survey. Please let us know what it is that you need from us for next year because we are working out all those details. Giving you a couple little sneak peeks. But that is definitely something that we want to hear from you. That's why we're here. We're listening to you. You can also join our mailing list so that as we start to come out with these new things for next year, and we do have big plans, you'll be the first to know. Because anytime we do anything here, we notify our mailing list first. So if you go to theazone.com/mailing list, it's MailChimp if you're familiar with that. So what will happen is you'll fill out the form, give us your basic information. I think all we really need is your mailing address, maybe your first name. And then what happens is it sends an email to you asking you to verify. That's part of that whole, that EU thing, the GDPR. So they send you an email. You need to say, yes, I really did ask for this. And once you do that, then you'll start to get our emails. If you ever change your mind about it, it's one click and done. So no worries. You don't have to worry that you're going to be stuck with us forever. But we hope you'll stick around because we're having a lot of fun here. And next year is going to be bigger and better. So I hope you will join us for that. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great evening, morning, afternoon, depending on where you are. And I hope that we will see you next week. Have a good one. Bye. I just realized I never ran the show video. Should I run that? Well, I'll just run the close video. How about that?